Yeah.
How did we do that at the same time? Welcome back. I have no hair. My hair's gone since last time.
And you've gotten I'm Ginger.
I'm a crazy baldy.
How are you, my internet family? And welcome back for another video with my lovely boyfriend Thomas. That's him over there. Yeah, you may have known that we were in a long distance relationship for the first year-ish of our relations, and
that makes it sound so seedy. We're having relations. Red hot relations.
Sizzling, fiery relations. And we're not long distance anymore. We are currently in Thomas's campus, which is in Spain, but we're going home together in 2 months and counting. And I wanted to do a bit of a catch-up Q&A with them about kind of like things we may have learned after a year of being long distance and just a year in general of dating, because we survived just about.
I think we did well.
Yeah, I almost went a bit mad.
You went a bit mad, yeah.
You kept me on the straight and narrow. Baby, that was a nice kiss. Both of us were a bit opposed, would you say, to like long distance before we start going out, because we were dating before you came here for your course. Casually dating, yeah.
I wasn't really that opposed to it. Cause
our first conversation the night we kissed was, and you will remember this, oh, I wouldn't do long distance, like, because you were seeing someone else in a different country and I was seeing someone else in a different country, and we were both talking about like them. We were telling each other, because we were friends before, but we were filling each other in on our dating lives that night, and both of us were like, oh yeah, they're nice and all, but like, I wouldn't like fuck do long distance, fuck that, like the two of us were.
Yeah.
So
well, you changed my mind, didn't you?
I think I was considering it after the first month when we were just dating and stuff like that, but I still wasn't sure. Do you think it got harder or it got easier?
I think it got harder, but then at the same time, I think we both got better at dealing with it as well. We both knew like things we could do to make it like easier. Make the time pass easier. We were both keeping busy and we were both talking a lot. Like we were keeping just constant communication going just with text, and then we'd Skype every couple of days, and that type of thing really helped. And then coupled with the fact that we made sure, especially in the recent few months, we made sure that we were filling the time between texts.
Oh God,
we weren't just fucking sitting around
staring at the screen.
Horrible.
It's so bad.
It's really bad. Like if you're in a long distance relationship, but you don't have that much going on in your life, you'll have a lot of hours where you're just staring at the wall like, what's she doing right now?
Yeah.
There's a green dot next to her name, but she's not typing.
Who's she fucking talking to?
Who else could she be typing to?
I know, for me anyway, when we started seeing each other, like I was flat in the middle of a really busy period. I had my book launch and all that, remember? But I knew his routine so inside out, and I met all your mates here on campus and stuff like that. So I think it was a little bit easier for me because I kind of like knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
Whereas like that's why I was trying to be so overly communicative with you about what I was doing. And like, you know, because every day of mine is so different. So I think I was like imagining you being, because I was imagining me being in your position, and I think I would have been filling my head with all sorts of shit because I have a like overactive imagination and trust issues. Anyway, we need to get into the questions because there's questions about all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
We're going to be answering your questions. I asked on Twitter ages ago. We're only getting around to filming it now. Sorry guys. Kate asked, what are the milestones you come across within the first year? So like, for me, the big ones was meeting each other's families. Yeah. And first trip away together.
Yeah.
First fight.
Fighting over long distance is hard. Yeah. It's very hard because you can't just, because with our way of dealing with conflict, you like to go quiet.
Yeah.
And I like to talk.
Yeah.
So if we were living together, you'd walk out of the room.
And you'd follow
and
me.
I'd follow you. But when you walk out of the room in long distance, you turn your phone off. And I can't follow you. Short of booking 2 flights and dropping about 400 quid and 6 hours on travel just to be like, what was that last text about? Are you for serious right now?
I think they're the main milestones, like meeting each other's friends, going to a wedding together as a couple for the first time.
Yeah, that was nice.
We became Facebook official very quick.
We did.
And he was a fucking eyelash.
Make a wish.
I dropped it. I lost my wish.
You dropped my wish. So anyway, the fart thing.
The first fart.
The first fart is a big milestone. We're having a little lie down and we're having a little laugh.
A little cheeky giggle.
And Melanie lost control of her bodily fluids.
Functions.
Gases.
Did piss everywhere. But yeah, the meeting the families thing, because that is quite a big milestone, but it went really smoothly because like my dad knew Thomas already from down the pub because Thomas was a friend of my cousin's and we had been friends a long time first.
Hey, Paul.
And he was very happy about the union. He was very team Thomas. He was like, yeah. But when I met Thomas's family for the first time, we'd only kissed like once. And I was walking...
That wasn't the official meet.
Yeah, but it felt... That's when like, I met them and I felt like a gobshite because I walked up his driveway with all these cans and I was like, yeah, let's get pissed. And then they were all sitting there and then he comes down the driveway, big bloody blundering walk on them and gives me a big kiss in front of them. Yeah. And I was assuming that he brought all the ladies back for kisses in front of his family because he was a ladies' man, and I just didn't know what was going on because I was like, I was thinking like all these things in my head, like why would he kiss me in front of his family? Because usually like when you're casual,
yeah.
But I think that's what I mean. We felt very much together before we were even together.
Yeah,
it was weird.
But that's because it was like it was kind of building up for a very long time before we even kissed each other. Like. But yeah, that was your first time meeting. That wasn't you meeting my family. Because then I didn't know what to
say to them. I was
girlfriend.
Just
you were meeting them as Melanie. Just like you were coming up to the house and they just happened to be having a barbecue at the same time.
Yeah, but didn't they think I was gonna?
Oh yeah, my mother's exact words were, "That girl's going to chew you up and spit you out, my little boy."
My lovely little boy. Yeah, and I remember when you said that to me, I was like determined to prove them wrong. I was like, no, I'm going to step up to the plate. I'm going to be respectful.
Yeah.
And then I met your grannies and they were lovely.
Yeah, they liked you as well.
And you've just not met my second family because I've got 2 families. And it's not like one is number 1, no one is number 2. It's just my parents are split up, so half of my family lives across the country. Isa said, how do you stay true to yourself in a relationship? How do you not wake up one morning and realise you've become a version of yourself that's modified to your partner's ideals instead of how you'd actually be on your own? It's something I've been trying to work on so bad. And then a good few other people tweeted saying they fear losing themselves in a relationship or becoming too much like their partner, so they avoid relationships altogether for that reason and stuff like that.
Yeah, we can't give advice on this. I'm sorry. We're scarily similar. We're both really, really similar people. Like we like the same music, we like a lot of the same movies.
Food.
We like the same food. We have loads of the same friends because we're part of the same friend group.
Yeah.
We both had similar childhoods. We both want the same kind of future.
Very similar sense of humour.
Similar sense of humour, just similar personalities in general.
Oh
really.
yeah. Like that's the thing. Like I don't. Yeah. Like I don't know. I've had people say to me, "You're acting so different now. You're with Thomas." I'm like, really? Like, in what? How?
I don't get that at all.
I'm so not. I don't feel any sort of pretense around you. I don't have to.
Neither do I.
Like as in when I started YouTube, it was like 5 years ago. So obviously from my first videos, I'm a different person, but it's not because of him. Like, but I do know what people mean. As in, I think a lot of people start going out with someone and they feel like they have to be more like what they think their partner wants, which I just think that's really unhealthy. But I think there is a line where, like, say if your partner loves theatre and you hate theatre, I don't think there's any harm in you just showing an interest so that they can still enjoy in their thing and share it with you.
Yeah, it's a case of enjoying what your partner likes with them, but not
at the detriment to
at
yourself.
the detriment of something that you enjoy doing.
For an example would be gym. So he loves the gym, and regardless of whether I did or didn't go, he would just go anyway. I know you wouldn't change that because of me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't change any of my hobbies or habits or anything like that. I haven't changed. I've just added in, I've shown more of an interest in the gym because I was always into exercise, but I never really got into weightlifting. And then I saw the benefits it was having with this boy, and I kind of wanted to have a hobby or a thing that we could go do together. And I kind of really wanted to give it a go, and then I really liked it.
I think that was kind of it. Like, if it's something that, like, with you made the choice, you were like, oh no, I want to do this. Like, and I always made a point of never pushing anything I was doing on you. You just did things that you wanted to do, and I did things that I wanted to do, and we were like, oh hey, we both want to do the same shit. Yeah,
because it's like with videos. Like, you've been in videos with me because that's like something I like doing. Like with vlogs, I like vlogging things, and you've really embraced that, even though that's not, you know what I mean? Like, but he's not changing who he is to like fit with me or anything like that. So I think you have to be really self-aware, and if you think that you do morph and become a different person in a relationship, like, it's important for you to know that. I don't think you should avoid relationships altogether, though. Like, it would be more worth your while working on that about yourself, and like, you know, find someone that is similar to you in certain ways. You don't feel the need to have to change so much, you know, maybe.
Yeah, it's just having a bit of confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
And, like you said, a bit of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Just so that when you know that 6 months, a year down the line in a relationship, you're not going to be a completely different person just to keep the other person happy. Yeah. Because that's not really a relationship then, is it?
No, because they got with you because of who you are in the first place. Yeah. Like, can you imagine if I just turned into, like, well, no, I already am kind of like your twin.
Just call me Jamie Lannister.
Long distance helps with that, I think, because you're not together all the time as well.
Yeah.
You have to fill all the...
You're kind of forced to be independent people.
And we're finished that now. What if we become very codependent? That'll be a danger.
We're just going to morph into like
one
person. Catch us on our combined channel.
No! Michael said...
What did Michael say?
Michael said, given that you're often sleeping in the same bed together, does your sleeping pattern... does their sleeping pattern eventually influence yours, or vice versa? Because I know a lot of couples who go to bed around the same time. I think this has, because I used to never be the type of person to go to bed at the same time every night, whereas Thomas is so structured and routined in every way regard of life. Like, you have everything very much laid out, and you know you go to bed at this kind of time, you wake up at this kind of time.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I used to stay up sometimes to like 4. I know. So now we both go to bed in and around 11 to 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice hour.
Well, it kind of have to here, because at the place where I'm studying at the moment, the meals are very laid out.
Yeah.
So you either go for food at this time or you don't get food.
You don't get fucking anything. I feel like as well, I sleep really well when you're in bed, and we both almost wake up at the same time during the night to move. Like, you know, like we'll both flip over at the exact same time, fall straight back asleep. And then we both get up to pee at the same time.
Yeah. I need to pee. Oh, so do I. Race, yeah.
Things that now annoy you that you previously ignored / found charming. I don't think I've ever been annoyed by you.
I think the only small thing I can possibly think of, you're starting to laugh already, is actually something that I do myself now all the time, which is just your little
Oh yeah. I do this really annoying thing. I don't know what it is. It's like it's like what you think like a 90-year-old woman would do if she's bending over to get something. She's going, but anything I'm doing, I do it. If I ever have to move or shimmy or shuffle or bend or anything, I do it.
If you have to strain yourself in any possible way,
but you do it all the time. We were climbing through a bush earlier outside on a walk, and we were like, getting through it. You are one of those weird creatures that exists that just does not annoy me, and I don't know, I've never known anyone who doesn't annoy me. Like, he picks up after himself, he's clean, he washes everything, he irons and lays out all the things, he's organised,
he's your mother.
He doesn't nag me, he doesn't give out to me, he doesn't...
He just lets me do whatever the fuck I want.
But you're not a disgusting eater, you're not like, you don't rely on me to like, oh Melanie, will you answer the phone or will you answer the door? Like, you know what I mean? You're just nothing annoys me.
Yeah.
Your voice doesn't annoy me.
Well, that's
you
cool.
never smell. Like...
Keeping that hygiene.
I have high standards now. You're not going to let that slip, are you?
No, it's just who I am.
Do I never annoy you?
I don't think so. Like, I've never...
What about when I do princess bed in the morning?
No, because that's just really cute. Like when I have like really early flights, she makes a point of just lying in bed with the covers like up around her neck, just like...
Yeah. No, I didn't even know I did that. He tells me I squeak and make noises when I wake up, but he said that it's all, my feet are always poking out the bottom and my face is always just poking out, and I'm always like, I don't even know. I think it's when I'm half asleep, half awake.
Yeah, because you like talk in your sleep and sometimes.
Oh,
as
I
well.
know.
Like fucking was it last night or the night before? I was like just drifted off, and then you were like, oh my god! I woke up like, what? I dreamed I was falling. No, I can honestly say that I don't think you've actually annoyed me once yet. Really,
it's really
like,
weird.
We've had fights, but we haven't.
But I don't even feel like, I know they're fights, but they don't feel like.
Well, they're not fights. They feel like we have arguments.
Yeah.
Like calm arguments.
Yeah.
More or less.
They're usually always about like my trust issues and actually there's a question about this.
Yeah, alright.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Alright.
Yeah. Oh. Second time the equipment died during this video. We've been filming this for hours.
You're the host. You're supposed to be running the show.
Adam asked, what was it like entering the relationship after a toxic one? And he said, did you have trust issues at first? And I was in a toxic relationship when I was a teenager, and I had a brief toxic encounter about 3-ish years ago. Probably around when me and you start fancying each other more. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I had a lot of baggage, man. And that kind of all, like, I wouldn't say ruined, but it was a big issue for me in my last long-term relationship. And I was really determined to like not let it affect this too much, so I did try and deal with a lot of it before we got together. But at the same time, if you've been in a very toxic relationship, it leaves scars that are very, very deep, and it can take a lifetime and a lot of very patient people to to get through that. But you're extremely patient and you're very reassuring. And how bad was I?
Pretty bad. That's the thing though, we never fought, like we just had arguments because I couldn't be mad about you because I knew where all of your like racing thoughts and a lot of your feelings were coming from some of the times, like because we like at least we'd sat down and we discussed like your past relationships and stuff like that, and your issues and stuff. So I knew.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, which was, I think, was really good. Like, I think if we were in a slightly more closed off relationship and we didn't talk about that stuff so openly, then I would have been like, this girl is mental. I knew where it was all coming from. And I knew what caused a lot of it, and there was a lot of feelings just still hanging around from past relationships.
I feel like you're talking about it quite in the past, because it's not that much of an issue now, isn't it? Not.
No, I think we've managed to work through a lot of it.
Yeah. I really didn't think that we would be able to with the distance thing. I was so nervous, because obviously distance exasperates your fear and your trust issues and stuff like that. But I think what you worked on was building up trust from an early point by telling me, like, anything that you thought would give me racing thoughts. So he would tell me everything, to the point of, like, even telling me stuff that I didn't care about, or just that was pointless. But he was just like, I want to talk to you about everything and anything that might make you so now I feel like it's at a point where you don't really have to do that. But, like, I kind of did the same thing, because I'm always afraid of the other person feeling that way in a relationship with me. It's really hard to trust somebody with your heart after you've done it, and when you've kind of, like, handed over your whole self to someone, and then they just, like, fuck it at the ground and shit on it and light it on fire. It's hard to do that again, but it really is worth doing it with the right person. You have to be with a good person and a kind person. You're a kind person.
No, it's just because I knew how you were 95% of the time. So when we were having...
I wasn't like, oh yeah, we should say that. I wasn't like every 10 seconds going like, who is she?
It'd be like every few weeks or something like that. There'd just be something that we just need to talk about. And like, I never had a problem going over things consistently, and I never had a problem with us having those, like, really long, arduous conversations. Just because I knew where it was coming from, and I knew there would be.
But there's also an element in that is, like, establishing boundaries. I think every new couple, even if there's been no baggage, I think that kind of, those talks have to happen at the beginning, because for some people, certain behavior doesn't bother them from their partner, and then other people, like, everyone has their own boundaries and comfort zones and things. And for me, I just kind of think I need maybe a little bit extra reassurance because of the past vocalized regularly. I've never been with someone who's been in my position, like, who's been the one who is very who thinks that I'm out to hurt them, you know what I mean? Like, I can't I feel like,
I think if we were both like
that would
I think if we were both like that, we might not be sitting here right now, because we would have killed each other.
Amelie said, okay, so my parents are no longer together, and even though you see it in films, I'm still skeptical about true love. How do I get over it enough to get out there? You didn't believe in true love.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't either. I definitely didn't. My parents broke up as well. And then, you go through things and they don't work out. And I had conversations with my dad where I was just like, I am not doing monogamy anymore. I am just going to date loads of people at the same time, and I am just going to have babies myself with a sperm donor one day, so it doesn't matter who I'm with at the time, because I will have my own family, and me, myself, and I forever.
Me. I'm going to marry myself.
Like, I don't know, how did you feel about it before we were together? Like, what?
I don't know.
Honestly,
it was really weird, because I always had it in my head that I was when I was really young, when I was quite young, I was always like, no, relationships are not for me, and I lived that way for quite a long time, probably till I was
mid-20s,
24, I think. I always thought that stuff could happen, but it would not happen with me.
Oh,
And
I always wanted it to happen. I always wanted to be in a happy relationship.
yeah, it's really weird. I always had the exact same thoughts at the same time. It's like, relationships are not for me. I don't want to be in a relationship. That's not going to happen. But then when I always imagined myself when I was like 40 or 50, it was always being married with kids. Yeah. So I was like, how does that work?
Can I ask, because I know people will comment this, they'll be like, oh, you only see yourself being married with kids because that's just what society says you should do. Like
no, it's not.
Yeah, I
could quite easily have been a bachelor for the rest of my life. I probably would have been reasonably happy because I think we were both
very
both
happy.
of us were quite independent and happy even when we were single, like before we got together.
Yeah. I remember, like, you seemed grand. I think you were quite closed off though, emotionally.
But I was happy with that wall. Me and that wall were friends. We got on very well together. We had some good times together. But yeah, like, I think I could have been happy being single for years and years and years, or never being with anyone because I like my own space.
What made you change your mind, or what makes you think that you definitely want a family and all that kind of stuff? And what is it that, like, about the idea of a relationship that made you change and be in one?
Well, we just got together because we were happier together than we were apart. Like, we were happy when we were single, but we were a lot more happy than when we started going out.
That's
and
true.
that's how we fell into a relationship so quickly.
Yeah.
Because it was just so...
I don't think it was that quick. That's what we both gave it a lot of time. Like, we didn't make it a fish for like...
Oh yeah, it was a couple of months.
Few months.
Yeah. But no, I just always had in my head that I wanted kids and I wanted to be married. But then at the same time, I always thought, I was like, oh well, if it doesn't happen to me, I probably won't be that disappointed.
When people say that to me about, why do you want kids and why do you get married, I just do. Like, I see so much lovely benefits of it. Like, I do have a lot of good memories from being young and having a lot of family. Like, I had loads of aunties and uncles, loads of cousins. Most of my best memories are with family. And I just love the atmosphere of like Christmas with a family and all that kind of stuff. And it's nothing to do with like my body just being overwiring my brain or anything like that. I do genuinely, I can't imagine being 70 and not having a family. Like, I understand why people don't want them, and all power to you. Like, I think people who don't want children should not be allowed to have children. Like, so many people have kids just because they think they should, and then they find that they, they're bitter and resentful and they just wish they didn't do it. Contraception's great, use it. But we both really do want a family. And hear the lads down the hall
coming home. I didn't want to have a wife and kids unless it was the real thing. I was like, I'm not going to commit to something like that unless it's
me too.
Unless it's right. I was like, I don't want to just half-arse it. I don't half-arse things.
He doesn't. Ever. The whole thing about seeing like, true love and real love in movies and stuff like that. I think a lot of movies will show the honeymoon phase and the honeymoon period of a relationship, which is usually like the first 6 months. Some people it goes up to like 2 years. I feel like ours will definitely keep going to like 2 years, but I already feel like we're definitely in the next stage in that we know everything important about each other, and there's no like more shocks and surprises, and there's no more like anxiety butterflies, and there's no more like, now we're like very comfortable, but it's not like I never wanted to get to like the stage where we don't do fun exciting things, and I'm just never gonna let that happen. But I think a lot of movies show that part, and then they don't show like the morning after or like 10 years later. Like, they always show like falling in love, which is amazing, and that whole part is like so good. I think you just have to like look around. Like, you usually know some people who are really happy together, and actually, the way everyone goes on about, oh, well, half of marriages end in divorce and stuff like that. Half of them don't. Half of them don't. And a lot more marriages end in divorce now, rightly so, because I think back in the day, you know, you'd be in an unhappy marriage where your husband would be battering the shit out of you and stuff like that, and you'd just stay married. Like, that wasn't better than now. It's not like people have become suddenly, you know, like that there's some problem with like long-term relationship or commitment. I think it's just that people are now take less shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you're right.
I would always look at like people like Liz and Bailey and just people that we knew who were together a long time and very happy. And I would always just remind myself, like, well, they found love. Like, it's not that it doesn't exist. And if I don't find it, then I don't find it. But I was always open to it. I think I just went through a bit of a phase where I was like outwardly very defensive and trying to come across very like, I'm fine by myself. The key to getting over enough to get out there, which is answering your question, is to let go of the fear of things not working out, because sometimes things just don't work out, and that's not something you should be afraid of or avoid, because like it might be intense and it might hurt at the beginning, but that's where like nearly all of the growth in life happens, and it prepares you for the future, and it's practice. I just think just anticipate that on your search and your journey you might have some bumps in the road, because we all have them. Some of them are gross.
Just find things that make you confident in yourself. Like if you're looking to get back out there, then just focus on
making
hobbies, like like pick
because sorry, I got really excited then. Like before we were like, oh god, my hair's all mental. You had so many hobbies and you just seemed so confident when we got together. I remember it was just like I could smell it off you. I was like, he's a nice package. Nice little package.
But yeah, it's just focusing on doing things that you enjoy doing. Like, just be, if you're happy
on your own.
It sounds really cheesy, but if you're just happy on your own, then people will just flock towards you anyway. So, just, see? Here it goes again.
We've been talking too long.
We've been talking for ages. Did we even help?
Probably
not. No. I know I didn't. Get your hands off me.
We might do a bit of an Instagram live soon. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, if you're not already, just go into the description box down there and give it a thumbs up if you like this video, if you like this boy, and I'll see you in my next monthly vlog. No, I'll see you in my next video. I'll have 2 more videos before then.
I hope so, anyway.
Bye.